On Tuesday, Republican House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy announced his plans to do an impeachment inquiry against President Joe Biden, based on, well, nothing except for uncorroborated allegations of bribery with no evidence to back it up. But as our friend, of course, Mike Pillow loves to say,
just forget about the evidence.
Now, there's another issue at play here that could stop this Republican effort. The fact that they didn't actually do a vote on it. Turns out Trump had some rules during his administration passed, making it a little bit harder to actually do the things that you need to do an impeachment inquiry, without actually voting for it. Oops. As Politico explains, in January 2020, the Donald Trump-led Justice Department formally declared that impeachment inquiries by the House are invalid unless the chamber takes formal votes to authorize them. That came in response, of course, to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi at the time, basically announcing an impeachment inquiry into Donald Trump before voting on it. She was criticized for it. Later on, she did actually do a formal vote, but again, the Trump administration said, well, you can't do that no more. Oh no.
Can't let that happen.
So, now the ruling came as then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced her intention to investigate Trump for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. And not only is this rule still on the books, but it's binding to the current administration. So that means...
Whoopsie.
Yeah. McCarthy, of course, did it anyway, completely flip-flopping in his position, because before he was saying, well, I'm not going to do an impeachment inquiry until we have a vote, because we don't want to do what Nancy Pelosi did. No, naughty Nancy Pelosi can't do that. No. Well, oops. Now, why did he do that? Well, he doesn't have the votes. That's why. Now, the Justice Department, FBI, and IRS are all bound by the OLC opinion and prevented from officially launching an inquiry without a vote, according to a Politico report. So, again, he can call an impeachment inquiry, but until there is a vote, it's really not according to their own rules. They really don't have the type of power that they were looking for. And so, why? What's going on here? So, well, basically, Kevin McCarthy is trying to have it both ways. He's trying to convince the idiots in his party who don't understand the process, saying, oh, look, we're doing impeachment of Biden. We're getting it forward, so you might want to not hold up funding the government, because that would be really bad, for our donors. Now, he also is trying to protect Republicans, so-called moderates, who might be in danger of losing their election by allowing them to actually have to avoid taking a vote to, do this impeachment inquiry, which could be used against them later on in their elections. So there's that. CNN also reported, by the way, that Trump himself had spoke with congressional Republican leadership about impeaching Biden. So it's very likely that Trump had also asked them to do it in order to help him. Okay, so moving forward, though, without a vote, because he doesn't have the votes. That said, that could change. That could change. It could eventually formalize this, potentially after those, vulnerable Republicans maybe win their re-election, if that happens. But until then, any subpoena power that they could, any subpoena that they could issue to like Joe Biden or for anything, well, it could be ignored. Basically, there's nothing behind it. Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, doesn't matter. Biden could do what Trump did and tell the House Republicans to basically go pound sand. He could also assert executive privilege. These are two things that, by the way, Donald Trump had done before the formalization of the vote. Now, whether or not he does that, I mean, it's really up to him at this point, and I mean him by Joe Biden. But at the end of the day, so far, this is just a political clown show. It means nothing without an actual vote. And again, that's because of the Trump era rules. Now, it's another case of hypocrisy, obviously, as well. As I mentioned, going after Nancy Pelosi for not having the House take a vote. Five weeks later, they did take a vote and got the evidence. Now, Republicans say, well, we're going to do the same. We're going to get the evidence. Yeah, good luck with that. There is no evidence. But hey, at some point, I'm sure they will try to take a vote to formalize it. They got to figure out how to get the Republicans that are not on board to actually get them on board. They're going to keep trying it because, look, once you push the button, you kind of got to see it through, right? The question, of course, is how long is that going to take? What does McCarthy have to do to get enough Republicans on board to do this? And I think a lot of this is going to come down to the polling. Again, the vulnerable so-called Republican moderates. I keep calling them so-called because I don't think there is such a thing as a Republican moderate at this point. Maybe slightly less insane, but still not really moderate. But again, it's going to come down to polling. It's going to come down to, public opinion on this. And if this, proves to be deeply, deeply unpopular with, for example, moderate voters, I should say, swing voters, etc., then McCarthy's going to be in quite a bind. And I'm not saying he's already not in one, because it certainly seems like he is. So where this is going to go, how this is going to work out, it's going to be very interesting to see. Like I said before, get the popcorn ready because the clown show has begun.